Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bazile. Thank you so much for watching. I'd like to dedicate this video to Motiga and their awesome upcoming game called Gigantic. You can visit their awesome game website at www.gogigantic.com. Gigantic combines elements from games like Unreal Tournament, Quake, and even a little bit of Tribes. This combined with the lane style of mapping gives it that extremely different feel from your traditional MOBAs. I think way too many gamers and companies have fallen into the trap that because it says MOBA, it has to have 3 lanes, creeps spawning at a set time, items, and defined roles. Gigantic, on the other hand, doesn't do this. Sure, you have the standard 5 versus 5 and a base to defend, but that's really kind of where the ball stops, if you pardon the poor expression. This game adds vertical combat to a MOBA, which really has never been done before, at least in the traditional MOBA sense. The first-person style opens up a ton of map ideas that could not possibly be in a game such as Smite, which is the closest representation of a game like Gigantic. It creates a style of combat that really has been lost in games. It's less about point and click to get your spells and actions off, and is now about aiming everything and making sure that you and your team play absolutely perfectly. As someone who's played video games in a competitive environment, this is what draws me to Gigantic the most. The lack of items is also a very odd but completely correct choice. This will allow the developers an easier time at balance. Say, instead of balancing 100 items around heroes and possibly creating more unbalance like a lot of the traditional MOBAs do, they now can simply tweak the hero kits to fit everything better and make sure each class is perfectly balanced, not around items, but around the actual hero and the hero compositions themselves. Gigantic will definitely be one of the few MOBAs that we will see near perfect balance. That is just insane. The maps also kind of give me that tingly feeling, because it allows them to create heroes and hero kits based on fluid movement rather than, will this hero with these items break the game, which is very, very traditional. The way that kits are going to be designed, it's going to allow them to balance it in a way where, is this kit going to abuse the map too much? Or is this kit going to not abuse anything, and maybe we could even make it powerful? So the lack of items helps the perfection of balance a lot better than it would, say, in your traditional item-based MOBA. I also think that it really kind of opens up a very, very large possibility of some really cool kind of kits that we can see heroes use, and the way that group combat is going to be portrayed. Of course, when we talk about a competitive game, everyone instantly says, oh, it's going to be an esport. And normally I would just kind of, laugh and not really pay attention to that kind of thing. But since I'm a kind of a huge competitive gamer, I always want a game to have some sort of esports scene, just because I like the competitive environment, and it's a lot of fun to be a part of. Now, Gigantic actually has the potential to be a very big esport, and I believe that there's a couple reasons why. The artwork will give it an extremely well viewer spectator style because it's easy to see things. It's a lot like Wind Waker in the graphics, where the shadows don't really kind of play a key role in where everything is, and they don't outshine certain abilities. And the abilities themselves look like they are very, very less reliant on particle effects and more reliant on actually showing the user and the player and the spectator what is actually happening. The best example I can give is probably Wildstar, because of the telegraph system. Yeah, there's a lot of particle effects and things going on, but you can still see a majority of what's happening because of how the combat is laid out. I think games like Smite, Dota, League of Legends all have kind of a major flaw in a spectator sport is the items. This is because the items allow one hero to get extremely powerful, turn the tide of battle in almost an instant, when the same hero 5 minutes ago was doing extremely poorly. This, in terms of a spectator sport, really kind of confuses the average Joe or player, if you will, and doesn't allow for a clear reasoning as to why this certain character is all of a sudden doing really, really well. An example of this would be Dota 2. This game is extremely complex. It's so complex, in fact, that Valve actually did a newcomer stream during the Internationals 4 this year, which was extremely popular, very, very well done. But a game like this has to have it because it's so complex. And for even someone playing Dota like myself, who really doesn't have the pro level kind of knowledge really doesn't understand some of the reasonings why, like during the drafts, it's like, okay, this doesn't really seem like it would be a viable option, but then they play it and it's just ridiculously good. So they had to come up with a way to explain to newer players and players that maybe only play casually to really kind of explain the game. And I think that's what Gigantic is going to really soar in terms of new player and the average Joe experience when it comes to a competitive scene. Is it's going to give a very clear representation of what is going on, what hero does what, and why everything is happening. So having no items and having the art style the way it is going to make this just a fantastic kind of contender to be a top spot in I guess the esports limelight when it comes to MOBAs and competitive gaming. Overall, I think Gigantic has the making of being an awesome game, a really cool esport, and I simply cannot wait for this game's release. I hope you guys share my excitement. Once again, if you guys want to sign up for Alpha, the signups are still open on their website. That is www.gogigantic.com. I do appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to my ramblings about Gigantic. I am extremely excited for this title, but don't worry, my WildStar coverage will still continue, but Gigantic will be the other game that I will be covering for as long as it's able to be covered. So really looking forward to the game, and that's it. That's all, guys. God bless. Have a wonderful day, and see you guys later. Hey guys, Baz here again. Thank you very much for watching. Videos like this are made in part by Audible.com and Gamebreaker Media. Click the link below or the annotation to receive a free 30-day trial and a free audiobook on Audible.com. Audible.com has a huge selection of audiobooks, so if you're into that thing, you can listen onto your computer or mobile devices. One book I would recommend is Star Wars Heir to the Empire. Excellent, excellent book. Or if you're into the World of Warcraft lore, I would definitely check out Arthas. Very, very good book. Thank you once again.